Today, I want to share with you a true story from Korea that still leaves me shaking my head. There was a woman who had a best friend for over 30 years. This friend was the one person she could say absolutely anything to about her husband. Every week, they'd meet up and vent about their husbands, laughing through the frustration together. But one day, she discovered something unthinkable. The husband they'd both been complaining about was the same man. Let me tell you her story. We'll call this woman Eunju. She's 38 years old. She got married around the age of 30. Her husband told her he worked in the construction materials business. In the early days of their marriage, he was a decent enough man. He'd come home from work and they'd eat dinner together. On weekends, he'd even help with the grocery shopping. But about 2 years into the marriage, things started to change. Her husband began coming home later and later. He'd say he already ate out and wouldn't touch the food she prepared. On weekends, he'd leave Saturday morning claiming he was going golfing. He wouldn't come back until Sunday evening. Eunju ate alone. She washed the dishes alone. She fell asleep alone. During that time, Eunju had one source of comfort in her life. Her friend Sujin. Sujin was the same age, 38. They'd known each other since middle school, over 30 years. Sujin always said she was going through her own heartache because of her husband too. The two of them made sure to meet at least once a week, without fail. Whenever they got together, there was one topic that always came up: complaining about their husbands. Eunju would say, "My husband plays golf every single weekend." And Sujin would chime right in, "Mine's exactly the same. I barely see his face on weekends." They'd laugh together over how awful their husbands were. It was the only comfort either of them had. One day, Sujin said something that caught Eunju off guard. "I saw a strange text message on my husband's phone." Eunju asked, "What kind of message?" Sujin replied, "I'm not sure who it was from, but it looked like it was from a woman. It was full of heart emojis." Eunju felt her stomach drop when she heard that. It was someone else's problem, but it stung as if it were her own. After that conversation, Eunju couldn't stop her mind from wandering. She found a receipt in her husband's wallet. It was from a hotel restaurant. The bill was for 2 people. But Eunju had been home all day. So who was sitting across from her husband at that table? A heavy weight settled in her chest. Eunju met up with Sujin again. "I found something strange too," she said. Sujin's eyes went wide. "What?" "A hotel receipt. Dinner for 2. Sujin let out a long sigh. "My husband said he was on a business trip last month, and it turns out he was staying at a hotel too." The two women looked at each other. There was a small, sad comfort in knowing they were going through the same thing. Have any of you ever felt this way? You sense that something is off, but you just can't bring yourself to look into it. You're afraid that knowing the truth might break you, so you pretend not to notice. That's exactly where Eunju was. But then one day, something caught her attention. Sujin was talking about her husband's car, and suddenly, Eunju's ears perked up. Sujin mentioned, "My husband's car got a scratch on the back left side." Eunju felt like her heart stopped. Her husband's car had a scratch in the exact same spot. Carefully, cautiously, she asked, "Sujin, what does your husband do for work?" Sujin answered without hesitation, "He's in construction materials." The room started to spin. Eunju couldn't sleep that night. She kept telling herself it couldn't be true, but her mind wouldn't stop racing. Her husband's business trip dates matched Soojin's husband's business trip dates perfectly. The golf days were the same. The scratch on the car was in the same place, the same line of work. And that's when it finally hit her. Soojin's husband and her husband were the same person. Can you imagine how that must have felt? Being betrayed by your husband is devastating enough on its own, but realizing that the friend you trusted for over 30 years was part of it, even unknowingly, that's a different kind of pain entirely. Did Soojin know all along, or was she just as clueless? Eunju suffered alone for days. She couldn't eat, she couldn't sleep. Finally, Eunju called Soojin and asked to meet. "Soojin, I need to tell you something." The smile vanished from Soojin's face. Eunju spoke slowly and carefully. "I think our husbands might be the same person." Soojin froze. "What are you talking about?" So Eunju laid it all out, one piece at a time. The business trip dates, the golf days, the car scratch, the same job. The color drained from Soojin's face. She sat there in silence for what felt like an eternity. Then finally she spoke. I had a feeling something was off too." She looked at Eunju and said, "I'm sorry, I didn't know either." The two of them cried together for a long time. The only person to blame was that one man, but the damage had spread far beyond him. Their friendship had been shattered too. After that day, Eunju quietly began putting her life back in order. She cut off contact with Soojin for a while, not out of hatred, but because every time she saw her, she was reminded of that man. Some time passed, and eventually the two of them reconnected. They say they can't laugh together the way they used to, but they still check in on each other. Friends, trust between people is truly one of the most precious things we have. If today's story stayed with you, reach out to someone you care about, hold their hand, and thank you sincerely for listening until the very end.